You've said it. I know you have. I just need to love myself more. You said it after the breakup. You said it journaling at midnight. You probably have it saved as a quote somewhere on your phone right now. And here's what I'm going to say that no one else will. Saying, I need to love myself, without knowing what that actually means, is the most productive sounding way to change absolutely nothing. You can repeat that phrase every morning in the mirror for the rest of your life, and still spend your weekends waiting for someone emotionally unavailable to text you back. Because self-love isn't an affirmation. It's not a mood board. It's not a solo trip to Bali. Self-love is a structural renovation of how you relate to your own worth. And most people have no idea how to do it, because no one ever showed them what was broken in the first place. So today, we're going into the psychology, the neuroscience, the brutal, inconvenient truth of why you keep abandoning yourself in relationships, and what it actually takes to stop. This isn't going to feel good the whole way through, but you'll feel something more valuable than good. Clear. Let's start with the science, because I want you to understand. What happened to you in that relationship was not weakness. It was chemistry. When you fall for someone, your brain floods with oxytocin, dopamine, and a cocktail of hormones that essentially redirect your entire neurological budget toward one person. Think about that. Your brain, with everything it could be processing, decides that this person's next move is the most important data in the universe. You stop thinking clearly. You stop noticing red flags. You start rationalizing behavior that, described by a stranger, you'd call a deal breaker. Here's what's really happening. You didn't fall in love with them. You fell in love with how they made you feel. And your brain, being the efficient addiction machine it is, started treating that feeling like oxygen. So when they pulled back, when the texts slowed down, when they said, I need space, your nervous system didn't register that as disappointing. It registered it as survival threat. That's why you sent the paragraph at 2 a.m. That's why you checked their location for the 14th time. That's why you cried in your car on a Tuesday over someone you know wasn't right for you. You weren't being pathetic. You were in withdrawal. Write this down. My nervous system does not know the difference between love and addiction. That's why I need boundaries, not just feelings. That one sentence will save you years. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. And I mean that. If this part doesn't make you pause, you're not paying attention. Every person who has ever lost themselves in a relationship has something in common. They had a hole. Not a flaw, not a defect. A hole. Something unresolved. Something unmet. Something that got written into their nervous system before they were old enough to understand what was happening. Maybe it was a parent who was emotionally checked out. Maybe it was a childhood where love felt conditional. Maybe it was a moment, or a series of moments, where you learned that you had to earn being cared for. You didn't fall in love with that person. You found someone whose presence filled the hole. And your unconscious mind, which is running the show way more than you know, said, there it is, the thing I've been missing. Hold on, don't let go. That feeling you called love. It was closer to relief. The euphoria of finally, temporarily, not feeling incomplete. The problem with filling your hole with another person is this: they can leave. And when they do, they take the filler with them. Which is why the end of certain relationships doesn't just feel like loss. It feels like annihilation. Because you weren't just losing them. You were losing the patch over the wound. You were never addicted to the person. You were addicted to feeling whole. Ask yourself, not as a rhetorical question, but as a genuine excavation. What did being with them give me that I couldn't give myself? Safety? Significance? Proof that I'm lovable? Write that answer down. That answer is the actual work. I want to tell you 2 stories. Because sometimes the most efficient way to understand a psychological truth is to see it play out in someone else's life, all the way to the end. Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy, 2 of the most desired, celebrated, powerful people of the 20th century, both completely incapable of loving themselves. Marilyn Monroe, a woman who had men lining up for her attention, who defined an entire era of beauty and charisma, was, by her own private account, numb. She had been assaulted early in her life and spent years cycling through relationships that she hoped would finally make her feel something real. She told close friends she had never experienced genuine intimacy. Not emotional, not physical, not once. And yet she kept chasing it, performing desire, filling the room with men who wanted her. Because being wanted was the closest thing to being loved that she knew how to access. Kennedy, for all his political brilliance, was someone whose emotional life was, by all accounts, entirely outsourced. One affair after another. Not because he felt too much, but because he felt almost nothing lasting. He had learned somewhere along the way that vulnerability was dangerous, so he replaced depth with conquest. 2 people who never learned to love themselves. They found each other, not to love, but to use. Not consciously, not cruelly, but automatically. The way we all do when we haven't done the work. Neither of them got what they were actually looking for. Because what they were looking for wasn't something another person could give. And here's the part that should land hard. Most of us are doing a quieter version of the same thing. We're not Marilyn, we're not JFK, but we are absolutely outsourcing our sense of completeness to people who were never equipped to provide it. 2 people filling each other's holes don't make a relationship. They make a codependency. The question isn't, are they right for me? The question is, what am I trying to get from them that I haven't figured out how to give myself? Answer that. That's the map. Let's retire the Instagram version of self-love. Right now. Self-love is not a spa day after a bad week, saying I deserve better while texting them back, posting a glow-up photo 6 weeks after a breakup. Those things can be part of it, but they're the decoration, not the foundation. Here's what self-love actually is. Self-love is the daily, often boring, frequently uncomfortable practice of redirecting your resources back to yourself. Remember the neuroscience from earlier? Your brain allocated its entire budget to that other person. Self-love is the process of reclaiming that budget. It means asking yourself, actually asking yourself, not as a cliche, but as a genuine inquiry. What do I need right now that I've been waiting for someone else to provide? What am I tolerating in my life that I would not tolerate for someone I loved? What have I stopped doing, believing, or feeling because it wasn't convenient for someone else? Here's the thing no one tells you about self-love. It feels selfish at first. Deeply, uncomfortably selfish. Because you've been trained by experience, by culture, by the relationships that shaped you, to believe that your needs come second, that love means sacrifice, that caring for yourself means you're not caring for others. And that belief is the whole. You are not selfish for having needs. You are dangerous to yourself for having none. For the next 7 days, not forever, just 7 days, every time you catch yourself asking, what do they need from me? Immediately follow it with, and what do I need from myself right now? Both questions matter, but you've only been asking one. These are not grand gestures. Transformation never is. It's always in the small, repeated, quiet choices. 1. Return your mental real estate. Right now, calculate how much daily cognitive space you're spending on someone else's mood, opinion, or behavior. That is stolen property. Take it back. Not by force, by redirection. Every time your brain defaults to what are they thinking, replace it with what am I thinking? What do I actually feel right now? 2. Stop explaining yourself to people who've already decided. If someone has checked out, gone cold, or made you feel like you need to audition for the role of person worth loving, stop performing. One clear statement of your truth. That's all you owe anyone. After that, silence is not failure. Silence is self-respect. 3. Keep one promise to yourself per day. Not a big one. Something small and real. I said I'd go for a walk. I'm going. I said I wouldn't check their profile. I'm not. Self-trust is built in micro-commitments, not grand proclamations. 4. Get your needs out of hiding. Write down 5 things you genuinely need that you've never directly asked for in a relationship. Not because you're going to demand them immediately, but because you need to know what they are. You cannot advocate for needs you won't name. 5. Update your definition of attraction. If every person you've been drawn to has made you feel like you had to earn their attention, that pattern is not chemistry. That's a trauma response in a good-looking outfit. The feeling of, I have to win them over, should be a red flag, not a green light. Stability, consistency, and genuine care might feel boring at first. That's not a sign they're wrong for you. That's a sign your nervous system has been calibrated to chaos. I want to leave you with something that's more metaphor than advice. But sometimes that's exactly what lands. Think of your life as a small boat on open water. You are the only one who belongs in it. Other boats can sail alongside you. They can stay close, keep you company, make the journey more beautiful. But the moment you let someone else take over the steering, the moment you start sailing toward their destination instead of yours, you've lost something you can't get back while they're still in the boat. Love is 2 boats choosing to sail in the same direction. Not one person abandoning their vessel to climb into someone else's. A boat can only carry the weight of one person's life. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are not someone who needs to become smaller to be loved. You are someone who needs to come home to yourself, so that when the right person pulls alongside you, you're actually there. Not performing, not auditioning, not waiting to be chosen. There. That is what self-love is. Not a feeling you earn after everything goes right. A foundation you build so you're okay when it doesn't. If this video reached something in you, drop a in the comments. And if you're somewhere in the middle of this, if you're currently in the process of finding your way back to yourself, I want to hear about it. Tell me where you are. I read every single one. Save this video. Not for later. For 2 a.m. For the next time you're about to send that message. You already know what to do.